Yes, John.
Wayne, it sounds to you like you're saying blogs can replace professional newsletters?
To an extent they can. A newsletter you can send out to people of your choosing, but you can certainly send an email with a link to your blog in it. And that's you're absolutely correct. If you want someone to go to your blog, or if you run across some really good information, you can send out an email and say a few lines about what the information is and put a link in there. And that's a good thing. You have to forgive me, I just realized I wanted to mention something earlier. Let me mention it now. Let's say that 25 of you put together a social networking campaign. I mean, that's the whole point of being here. How are people going to know that you have done that? Well, you're going to tell them this is a perfect excuse to do some email marketing. Send a short newsletter. You can send a letter through snail mail. Believe it or not, so many people get so much email. A lot of email has to be either given a cursory look or just dumped because people get lots and lots of email. Or when you meet clients, you can tell them, I've got a social networking site. Why don't you go here and take a look at this, or go there and take a look at that. It's a good way for you to remind everyone that you're out there and give your social networking campaign a good kickstart. What you don't want to do is send them to any sites that aren't complete. If you have sites on your website that are under construction, you want to get those sites spiffed up and get them working, get content on those sites. Don't send someone to a blog and the only thing there is a title. Put some posts in. Was it, Tim, did you mention the, you can write it down and post it later? That's a good thing. There's tools out there. If you feel in the mood to write, you can write a half a dozen blog posts and have one a day come out for 6 days. Excuse me. That's a real good way. Sorry. That's a good way to do it, because you can spend an hour at your computer or a half an hour at your computer and do your social networking almost for the week. Yes, sir.
How frequent do you recommend blog postings?
How frequent do I recommend blog postings? That's hard to say because everyone has different time constraints. I would say as a minimum once a week. More is better, but you know, let's face it, we all have other things to do. We all have other things to do.
I feel like Sam Donaldson with the follow-up question. How much time should you budget for aggregate social marketing?
That's a question that I would, that's kind of what the question is. How much time would you put in the aggregate to do your social marketing, relationship marketing? Take a look at what you want back from the program. If it's, right now the economy's bad, I hope you don't have time on your hands, but if you do, this is a good way to soak up that time and do yourself a lot of good professionally. See, this isn't an overnight fix. You just can't say, well, I'm going to do some tweeting, do some blogging, do some LinkedIn, sit back, oh yeah, and wait for the money to roll in. It doesn't work that way. You're literally making relationships the same way you would make in a face-to-face context or any other business relationship where you've got to meet people and talk to them and then go talk to their competition and, you know, and hi, how are you, and shake hands and yeah, back and forth. And then you move forward on the relationship. And then as you build a relationship, the relationship stays with you. So this is going to take time to develop. So what I would say is, take a look at what's a customer worth to you. We all have a different number in our head for what a single customer is worth. Now if you have an over-the-counter business, you're thinking, well, one customer, you know, so I sell, you know, an extra beer, or I sell an extra, you know, couple of whatever's, that's not worth a lot. I'm not talking about, that's not the kind of customer I'm talking about. You're probably all in business where, let me make a general statement, I hope this is going to come out to be correct enough. You're probably all in businesses where one customer represents some decent money to you. That's the kind of customer I'm talking about. If you have a retail business where you sell stuff, one or two more people may not be a lot. But what you're after is, in that case, maybe you want to step up and try to get an organization to come and deal with you. Maybe you want, you know, if you sell hot dogs, you want to maybe sell to the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts. When I say one customer, one client, somebody's going to bring you enough money to make this all worthwhile. So take a piece of paper, write that number down, and say to yourself, how many hours a week is it worth for me to bring in one of these, let's say a month, or to make a contact with one of these people per month, or this other business per month. And that's the way to decide how much time to spend. Because you can spend a lot of time and beat your brains out and say, this is terrible. You know, I want to get a picture of that Wayne English guy, and I want to stick it on my wall, and I'm going to throw darts at it because he's an idiot. I'm spending all this time and I'm not getting anything for it. And that can definitely happen. I don't want to see you go there. I don't want to make you crazy. We've all got time constraints. That's why it's best if you just figure it out for yourself, put together your social networking campaign, and get started. Twitter's a great place to start. 140 characters. It's quick and easy to do. Put in a link. If you run across an article or you run across some material that's good for people in your profession, post that. You'll start to get a following. It takes time. It just takes time to develop, but you can do it. Tell as many people as you can about your social networking campaign and start to weave it all together. Have LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and your blog and your website. Have everything start to point. Leave breadcrumbs behind so that when people find any part of this, they can follow into the rest of your social networking program. Website, send your people to your website. Tim is a dynamite web designer. He can tell you that on your website you want people to know who you are, where you are, what you're doing. You want to be easy to contact. If you want to post a cell phone number, if you want to post an email address, you want to be able to have people get to you and find you. That's the whole point. Does this make sense? Yeah? Okay.
Wayne, I have a question. If you need to change your email address and you're on this LinkedIn and everybody's got you according to this email address, how do you resolve that without too much disruption?
That's a good question. If you think you may need to change your email address, before you even get started, I would go to something like Gmail or Yahoo. I like Gmail better than Yahoo because Yahoo carries a lot of junk with it. And use a publicly available Gmail account that you can keep forever and you can access from anywhere. That would be probably the best thing I could think of. If you feel that you may be changing your email address, then I would go with a publicly available one. And you can have it
you, not your email address. So if you change your email address in your LinkedIn account, then they're still all connected to you. You don't have to tell everyone to look you up under a different. You know, you already have people who are connected to you. They're connected to you, not your email address.
That's correct.
So you can just edit your LinkedIn account and change your email address there, and now everyone has your new email address.
That's correct.
Yeah, most sites are set up that your direct email address isn't out there for the world to see, that it's somehow filtered. You know, through LinkedIn you'll get an email that says, oh, you know, somebody sent you a message on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, so your actual email address isn't out there.
Okay. That's correct. Do you hear that? Your actual email address may never be shown. But still, if you feel you're going to need to change this at some point, I would go get a public one. And then you'll never have to change it. But what you can do is, if you change it, you can go everywhere that you've left your email behind and change it. But if someone has you in their address book with the old address. And then you can also do email forwarding. There are services out there where you can put in your old address and your new address, and you can do email forwarding. But that's going to start to get complicated.